Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And today we're going to tell you how we felt about Happy Death Day. On a whim, Eric and I thought we would go see this ridiculous horror movie.
We saw the trailer in front of Blade Runner, right?
Yeah, and we thought it looked hilarious. And we were like, yeah, let's go to that.
No, it wasn't Blade Runner, it was Flatliners.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about Flatliners.
We didn't even do how we felt about it. It's bad, don't see it.
With a response. Yeah, just don't even... just trust us. That doesn't exist, and in less than a year, no one will even remember that existed.
It'll be a trivia answer.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That'll be a bar trivia. Anyway, so like I said, we saw a trailer for Happy Death Day. Thought it looked really funny, and thought we would go. I have been in a weird, like goofy horror flick mood ever since October started, and I'm not a big horror guy, as a lot of people know, but for whatever reason, I've just been in the mood for cheesy horror films.
Have you watched Cabin in the Woods?
I have not, but I should. Love that movie. Yeah. And of course, I did a rewind on that a couple years ago. So I don't know. I'm just kind of in that mood. We're doing a little bit of that kind of stuff on He Made Me Watch this month, and that's also started to kind of get me in the mood for that. So anyway, Happy Death Day is kind of a retread, a horror retread of Groundhog Day. So it kind of sandwiches a couple of premises together. You've got your standard slasher film premise, and it's a college film, which of course we do a lot. So it's the kind of ditzy sorority chick who's getting axed by somebody who she may or may not know, but then we put the Groundhog Day conceit on top of it, so she has to survive in order to get to wake up the next day. So she's a victim over and over and over again, and if she manages to not get killed, then presumably she'll be able to make it to the next day. Although I'm not sure why she's so sure that that's how it'll work. It's almost like the rules of the universe are kind of built into her mind as soon as this starts happening to her, which I think is kind of amusing.
She's not sure the second day, and by the third day, she's like, okay, so this is a repeated thing?
Yeah.
And then she talks to the guy, and the guy's like, so it sounds like you have infinite lives.
Yeah, sure. But I'm just saying that, like, I'm not sure how she can be so sure that those two things are related.
Oh, that she's being yeah, sure.
Yeah, that like if she survives, she'll definitely get to the next day. Like, how does she know that? That was a question I had. But anyway, just like Groundhog Day, this is totally a conceit. There's no explanation for it whatsoever.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. I feel like we over-explain everything now.
Yeah, I really expected, and hopefully this isn't too spoiler territory, but I really expected that premise to be built into the slasher plot. And there's a clue toward the beginning where the slasher has written a note that says something along the lines of like, you won't make it to the next day.
I love how long it takes to find that.
Yeah, and I kind of thought that might I was beginning initially to interpret that as the slasher knows what's going on, but ultimately, again, hopefully this isn't too spoilery. That's actually not the case, and these are just two things that happen to be lining up simultaneously. The only real explanation for it is karma. Which is what it was in Groundhog Day also. These are both movies about kind of deplorable people who sort of learn a lesson about having compassion and caring about people and not, living totally for themselves. There's certainly there's certainly kind of a character arc and a lesson to be learned there. So anyway, do you find this like I do to be kind of a remake of that movie? I mean, it is basically Groundhog Day again, and it almost comes out and says that it is.
Yeah.
Which I kind of appreciated, actually. But yeah, it is pretty much Groundhog Day with a slasher. Like, that's what it is. And now that we have this, I'd like to think that no one will ever attempt to remake Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Because we've now done it.
Yeah, I think we've done it pretty well.
Yeah, pretty well. Go ahead and flip your board and tell us how you felt about Happy Death Day.
I felt like I was watching exactly the right kind of horror film. I feel like horror films for the past, 15 years have kind of lost fun. I feel like so many horror films are concerned with grossing me out or making me feel unsettled. I miss and I can like horror films like that. I'm not saying horror films can't
Or just
do that.
flipping the script.
Yeah. I miss the 80s horror films where, like, we had a little bit of fun with it. Maybe you might get scared, but you're going to have a good time. We're not just trying to make you feel unsettled for the entire movie. We're not just trying to make you uncomfortable. You can have some fun with this, and I think that's what this movie is, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and it's self-aware without just leaning on parroting the tropes that you get all the time. Like I felt like it was the characters in it at least play it pretty straight, but it's pretty tongue-in-cheek. Like I feel like it's not trying to dupe you into thinking that it's any scarier or more serious than it is.
Yeah, it's just having a good time with some scares.
Yeah.
I miss that. I like that. It's fun. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I'm feeling it. But I think the one thing I can kind of lob against it, those rules are real fuzzy, right?
Yeah.
Like we start making a big deal about, like, consecutive damage, and that plotline is completely dropped.
Well,
and that felt like such a lazy horror movie thing. Like, I was like, oh, the rest of this movie is kind of better than this almost unfinished script kind of a thing that we got in earlier horror movies.
And I kind of wanted it to go farther with that because it becomes a ticking time bomb, so there's kind of more at stake. Like, with Bill Murray, it was just, okay, I'm going to be stuck in this forever, I'm never going to die, and it was about immortality. It's she thinks she's got infinite lives. Like, he actually is wrong about that. It's about mortality, and the idea is, if she keeps going through this over and over again, her body can't take it.
But that seems
but I kind of like that you tried to put kind of a new spin on it. Like that's the one thing that kind of adds to that.
The problem
notion.
is that it drops it.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. Yeah,
it only happens for one life, and then it's like the next life. She's like, well, every life after it, I feel weaker, but she never seems weaker after that point. She does
initially. She keeps waking up harder, but that's about all we get. Because like the first time we find out about it, it lands her in the hospital. I don't know why it doesn't do that every time.
Yeah, because she just wakes up and, like, collapses.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And especially, without giving too much away, that last time, it should have been a lot rougher, I would have thought.
Yeah. So, I'll say, best thing, I was really impressed that this movie duped me.
Yeah, me too.
I was completely duped. Like, I was ready to be like, oh yeah, it's a pretty fun movie with a pretty good premise with a real bad ending that feels out of nowhere. It's not. It is way smarter than that.
Yeah.
And that's really impressive. Worst thing, I don't think she has as much of an arc as she needs to. Or the second time she wakes up, I feel like she's already learned a lot of her lessons.
Yeah.
She's immediately... It's almost as if the person she was the first time around was a complete character that she's always putting on. And the second it gets unnerved, she just reverts to who she is.
Although
and so that made the arc over the days feel lesser.
That's fair, but I do think that there are a little bit of layers to that, where, like, it is a mask and it's supposed to be a mask, and when we learn more about her background, we seem to... I mean, I like that this is a real character.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fleshed out three-dimensional person, who I'm not supposed to like, and she's absolutely obnoxious, but then I find out why she's that way, and that's the definition of a sympathetic character. I know why she's that way, and there are consequences to her being horrible to everyone. But I also like that like as she's learning from all of that, she's not like, I don't think it's a light switch where she's a totally different character. Like, she doesn't suddenly get, like, a lot smarter or anything. She's also not a total idiot, which is nice.
No, but it's that thing where, like, so, like, they almost play it like she's the one outlier, where, like, everyone else in her sorority, like, if this happened to that other girl, the one that's like the queen bee kind of a thing, she wouldn't immediately change.
They are kind of two-dimensional.
Like, it's really weird, like, this idea of, like, well, those kinds of girls do have more nuance, but it's, in this movie, it does just seem to be the one girl. None of the other girls would have that. Like, she's the one that's slightly more complex. But I like the actress a lot. I thought she played it really well. Yeah. I felt like immediately the second time through,
but don't you think it could be kind of like a Buffy Cordelia thing, where if you got the movie from Cordelia's perspective, you might find out that there's like something more to that character.
Maybe.
Also, it's just from her perspective, all we see is the surface, and she is all surface until she's not, until we learn more about her, and she has this conflict that she has to deal with, and hurdles to overcome, where she has to be smarter and show that she actually has some compassion for people. I wondered if it wasn't too fast initially too, but I kind of think part of the idea, like I said, might be that some of that is a mask she's putting on because of tragedy in her background.
Yeah, but everyone else there is also acting like that. Like, that's a type of person, and it was just weird that she seemed like that type of person, but then like, well, no, she's faking it. She's actually a good person. She's just lost her way. All these other people suck, though. They're all awful, and they should be punished.
I guess you could make the argument that, like, those kinds of people most of them be people who have lost their way, and they weren't always like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the optimistic way to look at it. But anyway, this movie made me feel like, or it made me feel just the right sort of deja vu.
Oh, interesting.
Everything about this movie is derivative, and it still works. Which is kind of cool, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's a number of things sandwiched together. It's Groundhog Day, obviously, meets Scream, meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, she is just Buffy by the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like how proactive she is.
Me too.
That was the thing I really appreciated, where she's not just a victim. And you know what I thought, looking at that trailer? I kind of figured she would get killed like a dozen times before she started doing anything about it. And I really appreciated that she immediately starts investigating and trying to figure out, the answers. I mean, like, it does take her a long time to figure it out.
Yeah.
But although there is kind of a half decent, it might be half-baked too, but a half-decent red herring where she thinks it's one thing but it's actually something else, and I thought that played okay.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of surprised by. The baby mask is just hilarious, and it never stops being funny.
Nope.
I really love that. That's probably half the reason we went and saw it, just because it looked like the funniest slasher character ever. And I liked that there wasn't a whole lot of discussion about it. Like, it's the mascot.
It's just a school mascot.
It's just a cool mascot, but like we don't really talk about the mascot.
No, we just see people wearing it for like school pride or whatever.
Yeah, and I also like that the slasher by the end, the person that it ends up being could be described as a baby. Is that kind of like that? There's
also one of the best and most effective like fake outs I've ever seen with that mask, where like it feels like a normal it feels like a jump scare scene, and then it keeps going, and you're like, I like, you know what's going on, and that's not what's going on. I don't know if you know what scene I'm talking about, but I thought it was really effective.
I do. Yeah, the writing in this is surprisingly solid. And like I said, there's a lot more like real characterization than you would expect, and real character development and progression. I like the relationship with her and the main male love interest a lot.
Me too.
Me too. And I thought everybody was pretty well cast. Like, I think this cast is decent.
I agree.
And everybody seemed to be having a really good time making it, which was infectious. I found myself kind of wondering how much this needed to be a horror film. Like, as much as
if it wasn't, it would just be Groundhog's Day.
It would.
You have that
no, that's absolutely right. But it's weird because it's a remake of Groundhog Day. It's almost like somebody wanted to make a remake of Groundhog Day. And we should mention this was written, of all people, by Scott Lobdell.
Yep.
That blew our minds.
Yep.
But it kind of feels like we sandwich those two things together because somebody really wanted to remake Groundhog Day, but like, how do you remake Groundhog Day without just doing the exact same thing again? But it's not. I don't know. You're right that like the way it plays the horror tropes and the way it kind of plays as a like 80s horror film set at a college is all kind of fun, but the stuff I most took away from it wasn't really the horror stuff. And I guess, like, as much as I liked the fake out at the end, I didn't ultimately love what the slasher turned out to be.
I did, because I called it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, I know. I know you
validation.
did. And I don't know, it's funny and it's very small.
And I called it the second that character walked on screen. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's it.
No, I know you did.
It's them.
So, I mean, yeah, that's hilarious. But I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not sure how much I needed it to be a horror. Like, it wasn't really scary. Although I don't know.
We were in a mostly
like,
not packed theater, and I heard there were some kids behind us. I want to say I heard like one or two like, oh,
yeah,
watch out, it's behind you.
Here's the thing, it's a comedy before it's a horror film, and I know a lot of horror films end up kind of playing as comedies. I was a little surprised that our audience wasn't laughing more, because I thought this movie was hilarious.
Yeah.
And,
we didn't get
like,
really
maybe
anything
part
from
of
the
it,
crowd. We didn't get laughter or like jumps.
Not
or,
much. Maybe
it was like a dead crowd. There wasn't a lot of people, but
yeah, maybe some of why I'm saying I'm not sure how much I needed this to be a horror film is because I watched it with a weird audience. But I don't know. You're right. I mean, if it wasn't, it would just be Groundhog Day, and it would just be Groundhog Day with an irritating sorority chick,
and almost the exact same character arc.
Yeah, no, that's true. So I guess you have to have
it's a sorority girl
different
instead
trappings. And maybe part of the reason I'm saying that too is I had a lot of fun with this, and I feel like there are a lot of people that would probably enjoy it if you could get them to go, but because it's a cheesy horror film, they're never going to watch it. Like, this is very much the kind of thing that Roger Ebert used to say is like good trash. I think this is good trash.
Absolutely.
It's that kind of thing. It's real throwaway. I don't know how much I even feel the need to sit down and watch it again, but like I thought it was hilarious.
I feel like it's a movie I would show people.
Yeah.
It's not a movie I necessarily would need to sit down and watch again myself, but it's a movie I would show to people. And be like, oh, hey, have you seen Happy Death Day? It's pretty good. We
should mention, it's not a movie you have to see in the theater. I mean, I think this is probably a really good rental.
Yeah. If you miss it, wait till Halloween time next year and rent it or buy it or something.
Because, I mean, I totally get if there's so many movies in the theater this year you want to go to that you miss this one.
Yeah, don't pick this over Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. And I'm not lukewarm on it. I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But I'm just saying that I don't know that it's a movie that you have to
go see. You can really enjoy it and, like, understand, like, that there's... It's not a must-see in theaters.
No, it's certainly not. But I don't know. I liked it a lot.
I did too.
I had a lot of fun.
I did as well.
Start to finish. So anyway, well, folks, thanks a lot for watching. We sure appreciate it. And if you saw Happy Death Day, leave your comments and let us know what you thought. We are going to see another cheesy horror film this month.
Should we tell people what it is?
Here in a couple weeks, or is it next week?
No, it's the last week of the month, I think.
Yeah, we're going to go to the Snowman.
Well, here's the thing. You say cheesy horror movie. I don't know if that one thinks it's a cheesy horror movie.
I'm not
that
sure
one
yet
looks
either.
like it might take itself seriously, and that will make it better, possibly. Because it looks hilarious.
One place where we should really, I think, praise the marketing for Happy Death Day is they marketed the film it is.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, like, it's exactly what it is.
But they also don't. I don't think they ruin too much.
No, they don't.
There is one.
They don't tell us too much.
There is one thing in the trailer that we said after we saw the trailer. We're like, oh, did they just give us everything? There's one thing where I'm like, you know, I wish that was in the trailer. The thing with the car.
I was going to say that's the thing
That's
I wish they
the
had
one
given
thing
us.
I wish wasn't in the trailer, but otherwise,
because that's kind of a fun scene, and it might have been a neat surprise. I mean, a little bit of a neat surprise.
But it's a good trailer that gives you the really good flavor of what the film is.
Yeah, exactly. Flavor is the right word because that when I saw that trailer, I wanted to see that movie.
Yeah,
that's
and
exactly
you got to
what
see
I
that
got
movie.
to go see. Yeah. But it wasn't the kind of thing where like everything that was cool was in the trailer. It's solid.
Yeah. I was surprised by how well constructed of a script it was. With genuine setups and payoffs. I was kind of impressed.
And I've seen the causality loop 6,000 times being a science fiction fan. There are a few movies that do this, but it shows up in science fiction television all over the place. Obviously in Star Trek, no fewer than 6 times. X-Files season 6 has an episode that I like a lot. The bank robbing. The bank bombing episode. You haven't seen that?
I don't think I've ever seen
we'll have to watch that.
When we finally get back to our X-Files watch through.
No, watch it out of order because it's a real singular one and done. You haven't seen that, and it's the if memory serves, it's got a really funny gag about Mulder and his waterbed. You haven't seen that? Yeah, Mulder has a waterbed, and he's not supposed to have one, and it leaks, and his landlord gets really mad at him. And it's a causality loop, so his landlord gets mad at him over and over again over the waterbed. It's great. Anyway, yeah, we'll have to watch that. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you next time. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.